Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm looking a little bit different. I've actually put myself together rather than having my hair just look like a drown rat really when I go to the gym. I've actually put a little bit of effort in. So today is going to be kind of like a little bit of a Q&A sort of thing, talking through in-depthly what supplements I take as well, because I know that that is very commonly asked and I want to talk through it in depth. So first I'm going to be talking about protein. So these are all whey proteins. Actually, that was a lie. This is vegan, the shreddy one, obviously. Obviously, it's Grace's, it's vegan. But this is the only nice vegan protein I've had, by the way. Anyway, I was going off track. Yeah, mostly all my proteins are whey. And as you can see, they're literally all from like different brands. Like, this video is not sponsored by any brand in any way. However, this bad boy is my ride or die. Me personally, I don't know about anyone else, but I literally just cannot stomach like normal protein shakes. So like powder like this, you know, like milky powder. No matter how nice anyone says it is, I can't do it. I literally just skip. I just can't do it. It takes me probably about an hour to drink it, just because I literally just have to hold my nose and just really deeply concentrate on not throwing up. So this is the only protein I can actually somewhat consume and keep it down. Oh, that smells a bit funny actually. Even still, sometimes I'm like, when I drink this is a bit of a shit flavour though, to be fair. I would not recommend orange clear whey, it's very sour. I think peach iced tea and then mango or something, I think that's what they're called. Those two are really nice and great, and watermelon and cranberry and raspberry. This not so much. So yeah, protein, when to take it, why to take it, just everything about protein. So I'm gonna tell you when I take it. So I don't consume like a protein shake like every single day. I have it if I need to have it. If I have hit or am on my way to hitting my protein goals for the day, I won't have a protein shake. I don't need to have one. It's just not really necessary. Protein, so all supplements in general are there to supplement your diet. They are not there to replace your diet. They are in no way, shape or form a meal replacement, which is what is really important, because I think some people just take this and then like they class it as like a meal, and don't do that. Please don't do that. If I was to have one like this, for example, I would have it post-workout, also with these carbs. Also, again, I would not have these every single day. These are just an extra boost of calories. So I'm in a calorie surplus at the moment, I'm bulking, and like 2 scoops of the maltodextrin carbs are about 400 calories, so it just gives me a nice little boost at like the start of the day, just a boost up there with my calories. I would also usually mix that in with my creatine as well, and this is flavoured. It's like berry flavoured, so it doesn't really go well with this orange clear whey, but it doesn't, this is kind of like overpowering, so you can't really taste this much, but it would definitely go better with like the berry clear whey or something. I just put it in just so that I don't have to take it separately, and it's just all in one shake. Sometimes I mix my creatine with my pre-workout. I just put it in a cup together, mix it in together before my workout, or I dry scoop this and this separately if I'm just in a massive rush, and I just do it from the boot of my car. So this pre-workout, self-explanatory, have it before my workout. This is the only one I have at the moment, and it's not great. It's kind of like fermented a little bit, it's all gone lumpy, I need a new one. This was just cheap and it just does the job, but it does make you tingly, so if you don't like that then I don't recommend it. Okay, and then next is Bcaas. So Bcaas are meant to be taken intra-workout, which is obviously during your workout, which is when I take these. I just have 1 scoop in my water. It's just like a nice flavoured drink, to be honest. I can easily drink this, it's nothing like a protein shake, don't worry. So the Bcaas purpose is just for recovery, so if you're in your workout, it's meant to help give you just a little extra boost of energy whilst you're working out, and just to help with recovery like the day after and obviously on the same day. I don't really know if they actually do anything, I don't really know if it's like proven to do anything, they just taste nice though. So I am going to go into more depth about my creatine actually, just because everybody just always wants to know about creatine. I get that it's a little bit of like a complicated topic, and I really didn't know what it was like a couple of years ago. I had no idea, I'd never even heard of it. Creatine is actually like the most researched supplement, and like you don't have to worry about there being any dangers of it or anything. Like, it has had so much research gone into it, so you don't need to, those people that are like, yeah, but does it actually do anything, like is it harmful, blah blah blah. No, it's not harmful, and it is actually proven to work. So creatine is naturally found in the body, like in the muscles specifically, and it is used for energy. Basically, to sum up everything that I'm about to say, it is thought to increase strength and increase performance and increase muscle mass and also help with muscle recovery. So this is where it gets a little bit complicated. So if you don't want to listen to the complicated, more in-depth description about creatine, then I would just fast forward. So obviously creatine is already found within your body, within your muscles specifically. I think like 95% of creatine is found within your muscles. So when you supplement the creatine, so you're adding the creatine, like extra creatine to your body, you increase your stores of phosphocreatine, which is a form of stored energy and helps your body produce more ATP. And these additional phosphocreatine stores is what increases the ATP, which is what is going to give you the higher amounts of energy whilst you're doing like high intensity training. So that is one of the benefits. Like, it's meant to give you much more energy within your workouts and help you perform better and like last longer, basically. So the other benefit is obviously the fact that it helps increase your muscle mass. So there is loads of different ways in which it does this. I'm just going to sum up because they're all like really detailed explanations. It basically enables your body to take on more workload and more volume, which is obviously what is going to build you the muscle by doing the endurance training. It's also meant to raise anabolic hormones, and a big factor here is that it increases cell hydration. So when you're taking creatine, you have lots more water held within your muscles, which obviously gives the kind of not immediate but very quick appearance of larger muscles, obviously because your muscles are holding more water. And it also reduces muscle breakdown, which is obviously going to benefit you in the muscle building process because your muscles are not breaking down as much. So as I said, there has been like lots of research going to creatine. Like, there's been loads of studies been done that have actually proved creatine to work long term and short term. So if you want to like read about that in your own time, then you can, like, it's all over the internet and stuff, on like YouTube videos. So yeah, that is basically creatine, to sum up, because I just get asked so many questions and I just don't think like a TikTok video covers it because it's just quite long. So enough about creatine. I'm just going to talk about, I think this is pretty much the last one I've got to talk about. This is also a whey protein that I've got. This is just a normal like milky one. Obviously can't drink it on its own, but the only reason I have this is to use it in like my berry smoothies at the end of the day. So most days, just as an extra boost of like fruit and stuff, like my fibre day, I have like a berry smoothie. Obviously just put some protein in it just for extra protein, and obviously strawberry is like the only flavour that really goes with the berry smoothie. I mean, I don't really want to put the chocolate powder in a berry smoothie. I just don't think that would be very nice. So that is all I use that for. But yeah, that is when I would also have protein in the day, if it's not in a protein shake. So this is what I use in my oats in the morning, and then this is what I use in my berry smoothies at night, and then this is what I have on its own. Okay, let's get on to answering some actual questions. So I always get loads of questions on how to work out like your macros and calories and stuff. So the best thing to do is work out your maintenance calories. So basically how you do that is, right, I'll show you. So I've gone on the internet, search in calorie counter. I don't know if you can see that. Okay. Yeah, search in calorie counter, and then I'm just going to click this top one. I don't really know if that's a good one. Okay. Just put it in metric units. I don't know if you can see. Yeah. And then I put age, 19, female. Ooh, I don't really know what 5'2" is in centimetres. 157 centimetres. Weight, 52 kilograms. And then it asks you to put in your activity level. So I'm gonna put intense exercise 6 to 7 times a week. So just do obviously what fits you and then calculate. So it's telling me that to maintain the weight my weight now, I have to be in 2,148. But yeah, that is basically how you work out your maintenance calories. That is like about right. I wouldn't trust that to the exact number, to be honest, because I think loads of different sites will give you loads of different numbers. But I would just use that as your template. So whether you're wanting to gain or lose weight, I would increase or decrease, obviously, those calories by 200 to start with. Just giving you like a base rate, like a base number. Obviously not everybody's gonna like be okay with that number, but that is just what I recommend personally, like on average, to increase or decrease those calories by 200 just to start with. Let's just talk about gaining weight, for example, because that's what I'm doing at the moment. So start with 200, and then obviously you're going to find like increase by 200, and then as the weeks go on, you're obviously going to find that easier and easier to reach that goal daily. Obviously at the start you may find it quite hard if you know, don't have a big appetite, or you just struggle with eating a lot of food, so you might find it quite hard to hit that target. But if you stick to that for say 2 weeks, by the end of those 2 weeks you'll find that much easier to hit those calories. You're not going to get anywhere with drastic changes to your diet. It's just not sustainable, which is why I would just never recommend like dropping your calories by like 500 straight away. It's just never gonna stay like that. Like, your metabolism needs to, you know, like slowly adapt to the different calories. If you do it so drastically, then that is just when like reverse dieting happens. So yeah, basically that was the long-winded answer to the how do you work out your macros question. If I get this question one more time, I'm gonna scream. How do I keep a flat stomach whilst getting a big bum? I'm here to tell you, my friends, that I do not recommend doing both, and I'm here to tell you that you probably won't be able to do both at the same time. Like, it's very hard, it's just not really possible to do it effectively at the same time. What I tell everyone is, what is your main priority? So say your main priority, like first of all, was to grow your legs and your bum first. I would go in the surplus first, and it all just depends on what each individual person's starting point is. Each individual starting point is going to be completely different to the next person's, and their goals are going to be completely different to the next person's. So this person's main priority might be to gain a big bum, but they just might also want to tone up a little bit on their stomach, which you can't just get a flat stomach. You have to lose weight everywhere. Wherever you lose it or gain it is completely down to genetics. But that's for a different story. I say this person's main priority was to gain muscle. I would put this person in a calorie surplus to start off with, in a bulking phase, just so that they can reach that goal of gaining however much weight in kilograms they want to increase their weight by, or just however they want to look. You know, it's not always about the scales, and I wouldn't recommend basing it just on scales if you are one of those people that reaches for the scales every single morning and you have kind of like a toxic relationship with the scales. Just throw them away, like they're just really not important. Progress pictures are such an important way to measure your progress rather than scales, because if you are gaining muscle but you look really good, you know, you're looking slimmer, you're looking more toned, then the scales are just really not going to help you at all, because muscle weighs more than fat for a starter. So on the scale it's going to come up as, you know, like you being heavier, and then if you see that, you just think you're making no progress, and then that's just where like just the unhealthy cycle starts, that you just don't want to get into that mindset of just like thinking every time you step on the scales like you're just making no progress, like there's just no point, I'll just give up. But it's just not like that at all. Muscle weighs more than fat, so if you're wanting to lose weight but the scales are going up, it's not necessarily a bad thing. So yes, once this person has reached their goal, whatever their goal is during their bulking phase, then that is when I would start to put them in the calorie deficit phase, which is the losing weight phase. So obviously this is when the calories start to drop, but obviously you want to do it gradually. So if you've been in a bulking phase, then I would recommend going back to the maintenance calories and then over the next few weeks just gradually decrease them. Obviously never to a dangerous amount of calories, please don't do that. I would not even really recommend ever going under 1,500 calories, no matter what you look like, no matter how much you weigh, no matter who you are. I just wouldn't recommend it at all. There's just no point. It's literally scientifically proven that the average like female needs around 2,000 calories to maintain their weight, so you really don't need to go that much below that to be losing weight. It's just not necessary, it's just unhealthy and not sustainable. But to sum up, I just would say personally that I don't think you can really do both at the same time effectively, you know, like gaining a flat stomach whilst gaining a big bum. It just completely contradicts itself, because to gain a big bum, like gain muscle, you have to be in a surplus, and then to get a smaller, more toned, slimmer waist, you need to be in a calorie deficit. So it just doesn't really go hand in hand, and they're two completely different stages within someone's like journey. I get this question a lot, it's how long have I been lifting? So I am 19 at the moment, and I actually started going to the gym when I was like 13 with like, you know, like just with people from school. When you used to get off the bus, I'll go to the gym together and do absolutely fuck all. Yeah, that's what I did. So yeah, probably about 6 years, if I'm really talking when there was the first time I stepped in a gym, probably about 6 years ago. But I wouldn't class that as any part of my journey really. It was just a bit pointless. I used to just go in a room, do some sit-ups, and then that was it. I used to sit around doing niche, so I would not really count that. But I would say that I've been lifting properly for around 4 years. Even I think that even in the last like 2 years has been my optimal sort of gaining and most knowledgeable phase, even though it has been so long. And if you see me now, like I'm not a fucking like Ronnie Coleman, even though I wish I was. It just proves to you that lifting, you know, all this weight does not make you bulky. Like I've been doing it for ages, and I just look quite normal to I just like look like the average person, and I'm not some sort of like bodybuilder. It just does not happen like that. When people say, oh, like I'll lift this weight for this one session and then I'll be bulky. No, it does not work like that. I wish it did. Human body is just not that great. Everything takes time, which is why like bulking and cutting phases last for like months, if not years long, just because it takes so long to build muscle. Especially building muscle, like building muscle fibers, takes years. But yeah, I've been training for about 4 years, I would say, properly. But yeah, even in the past year, I have seen the most growth I've ever seen within myself, because I've actually stuck to like a bulking phase, you know, when you just kind of like, oh yeah, I'm bulking, but then it's like not proper. You're not really actually properly tracking your calories, you're not properly knowing what you're intaking, and you just kind of like floating along, just don't really know 100% what is going on. But this past year or so, I have stuck to like 2 proper bulks where I have known exactly what I'm intaking, you know, like protein, macros, calories, everything. I've known it and I've seen progress, and it just shows. And I'm not saying that you need to track calories or anything to see progress. You can see really good progress without tracking calories, and it's definitely not a necessity. But if you're wanting to hit like a certain target weight, and you want to, obviously if you're competing or something, like you need to be tracking those calories. But it's not vital to see progress. It's definitely not the be all and end all, and so many people see progress without tracking calories. I saw so much progress when I didn't track calories. I won't track calories for the rest of my life. Sometimes I don't even track them on days that I just forget. Like it's just not a big deal. I'm not prepping for a competition or anything. Like it's not that vital for me to track every little crumb that I eat. Like I just would not stress. If you are tracking your calories right now, just don't stress about the tiny little things. Obviously, unless you are competing, you do need to stress a little bit. If you're just doing it for your own progress, your own well-being, your own, just yourself, just chill sometimes. You don't need to be so... Another question is my top tips for growing the glutes. So this could be a whole separate video, but I'm just going to sum it up quickly in this video. As I said before, gaining muscle, calorie surplus. So if you're really wanting to gain some serious mass to your legs and your bum, you need to be in a calorie surplus. Just essentially a bulking phase, if you want to call it that. So that is the first point that I would say. Second point, you need to have a high protein intake. Protein is so important in rebuilding your muscle fibers after they've been broken down during your workouts, and like creating new muscle cells. Like, it's just so important for recovery and everything. So yeah, second point, high protein diet. So it is like a well-rounded, like, general statement that if you are wanting to gain muscle, then you should be eating around 2 grams of protein per pound of body weight. Around 2 grams. I think it's like 2 to 2.5 or something like that. But if I work it out, I am having... So it's obviously different every day, but on average I probably have about 2.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight, which is around 140 or 150 grams of protein a day. But obviously everyone's bodies are different, everyone's calories and macros are going to be completely different depending on you, so just don't base that number off yourself because it's just completely different. Tip 3 would be, so these are going to be within the gym points. So the third point would be progressive overload. To gain a significant amount of muscle, you need to be making sure that you are using progressive overload. So the progressive overload is basically an increase of intensity within your workout. So that can either be with an increase in weight, or it can also be an increase in frequency. So that means things like adding pulses to your reps, adding pauses, adding supersets, drop sets, everything like that. That is all included within frequency. A lot of people think that progressive overload is just weight, which weight is included in that, but it is not just weight. If I increase my weight by like 20 kg every week, I'd be lifting like thousands of kilograms. Like, it just doesn't work like that. But progressive overload is also weight increase, so just increasing your weights. Not every week, you don't have to do it every week, but every few weeks or so. It just basically challenges your body and allows your musculoskeletal system to get stronger. And then the fourth point I would have is to do quite a fair bit of volume training. So volume is basically vital for muscle growth, or in other words, muscle hypertrophy. So it just adds a lot of strain and pressure onto the muscles, which just spurs along that muscle growth. So my fifth tip for muscle growth would be to stick to compounds. Do your compounds. Compounds are definitely obviously my top 5 most vital things for building muscle. So an example of some compounds for legs in particular would be squats, deadlifts, hip thrusts. But a compound movement is a movement that works more than one muscle at a time. So for example, when you're squatting, you're using both your quads, your hamstrings and your glutes all in one, just because it's a compound movement. So these compound lifts are what you want to focus on using the progressive overload within. So whether that be increasing the weight on these lifts or increasing the frequency every week or so, these are the lifts that you want to focus on doing that within, because this is what is going to get you the most muscle growth. If you increase the weight on blooming cable kickbacks every week, like, you're not really going to see much progress. Like, it's not really going to do anything for you. Those isolation exercises are what you really want to focus on doing more volume within, so more like 15 reps rather than, you're not going to do 1 rep max on the cable kickback machine, are you? And if you are, then stop. So yeah, compounds are so important. And also, this is beside the point of doing compounds, but I just want to talk about something that you should be including within every single one of your leg days and how you should structure a leg day. So to start off with, you want to start with your compounds, as these require the most energy and strength. So you want to do these at the start of your workout when you have the most energy. And then preferably you want to move on to your unilateral movements, which are so vital and so important for muscle growth as well, and muscle building. So these are your things like lunges, split squats, step ups, everything like that. These are obviously legs in particular. So important, as they kind of like focus on imbalances within your body, and they put more tension on one side of your body at once rather than all at once. So it just kind of adds that extra little bit of pressure and intensity onto the one side of your body at a time. And then to finish off with, you want to be finishing off with isolation exercises. As much as people talk about compounds being so important, which they are, you don't want to neglect isolation movements at the end of your workouts, because these are the ones that target those smaller muscles and just those things at the end that just add you a good burn and just give you a good pump at the end of your workout. It just helps target areas that are sometimes maybe overlooked when you're doing compound exercises, obviously because they're all working all loads of different muscles at once. Someone said, how many times a week do you work out? So currently I am doing like 5-6 times a week, but it's not that every single week. Sometimes it's 6, sometimes it's 5, whatever. If I'm really busy, sometimes it's just 4, but that's fine. It's not a big deal, you know, we come back the next week and I'll try fit it in again the next week. It's just not that deep. So lots of people ask me if I would recommend having a personal trainer or not. So it completely depends on each person, obviously. If you have absolutely no idea what you are doing in the gym, you know, it's your very first day in the gym, you've never stepped foot in the gym before, you don't have much social media to look up exercises and stuff, you just have no idea what you're doing, then I would recommend a personal trainer just to kind of get you familiar with different exercises to do. They can add sort of some ideas into your head of what to do, you know, if you go and do it by yourself. Obviously they are qualified, like they know what they're doing, they can give you some good exercises if you tell them your goals. But I do also think they're a big waste of money and an absolute scam because they are so expensive when you have got so much information online. It's not hard to teach yourself. Like, you can teach yourself from home. If you're not comfortable to go straight into a gym doing it, you can do it at home, watch YouTube videos. Just so many resources online, out there, books, everything like that that you can read instead of just jumping into getting a personal trainer. But if you are someone, you know, that has like lots of anxiety in the gym and you just don't feel comfortable going by yourself and you would feel more comfortable with a PT, then by all means get one if you think it would make you feel better. Or even just take a friend if your friend knows what they're doing more than you. I would only really recommend them to start off your journey with. They are kind of a good starting point if you do have no idea what you're doing. Lots of people ask me if I've ever had one, but I've never had a PT or anything. I'm just not the type of person to pay for something like that. I'm always like, nah, it's a scam. I say that about everything that's expensive. How did I start my fitness journey? So literally, as I said, it was kind of like accidental. I just went because all the boys, all the lads were going after school and I just went with them because it looked fun, even though I hated it. Absolutely despised it. But I did end up enjoying it, and as I saw like growth, you obviously get addicted when you see like changes within yourself and you see progress. It's addicting. Like you obviously want to carry on going, don't you? Someone said, how do you stay motivated to train every day? I definitely don't. The other day I woke up, I wanted to die. I was like, oh my god, I literally really contemplated going back to sleep, but I didn't. I got up and I went, even though I really did not want to go. I was not motivated whatsoever. But yeah, motivation is not going to be there every day. It's not going to be there to support you. You just have to push through it, and that is where discipline comes in. When you push through those times where you really don't want to go, you push through those times where you have absolutely no motivation. That is discipline, and that is what will get you into your routine, and you'll see it as part of like a habit every day that you need to do, you know, like brushing your teeth. You just do it every day, don't you? It will kind of in turn come like that. Even if you don't want to do it, you just do it anyway. So someone asked for top 3 things that I wish I knew before I started my fitness journey. So I would say calories are not the enemy. You know, like carbs, things like that, they're not the enemy. They are absolutely your friend. How do you expect to hit thrust like all this weight without eating? So my second tip would be that you can't choose or pick where you gain or lose weight. That is completely down to genetics and there's just nothing you can do about it. And then number 3 would be that doing ab workouts is not the only thing that is going to get you abs. Abs are made in the kitchen. I'll say it again, abs are made in the kitchen. If you have a clean diet, you are in a calorie deficit, you are going to get abs. However, if you're eating shit like every day and you're doing all these ab workouts, you're more than likely not really going to get abs unless you have really good genetics and you already have natural abs, then you will. But yeah, abs are made in the kitchen.
Hello. You just had to come and say hi.
Yeah, another one would be that lifting heavy weights does not matter if you have bad form. You need to prioritise form over weight. Never compromise form over weight. Only going to cause yourself injuries, you're not going to build muscle, and you look stupid. Okay, and then somebody else said, how tall are you? I'm 5'2". I'm surprisingly short. I don't think I look tall actually. I do look quite small. I think that's all I'm going to answer today. I've kind of answered like the most common questions. I would answer every single one if I had time, but I can't. I'm sorry. But yeah, I think that is all I'm going to answer today. Let me know if you have any other questions, like just DM me any and I will answer. I'll maybe do like a part 2 Q&A if you really want to know some more. That is going to be it for today. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. Let me know if this was helpful and if you want to see another one. But yeah, I'll see you in my next video.